Movement didn't arrive with fireworks. It arrived quietly, folded into dinner conversations and early mornings, into pride that didn't need applause. She was still living with my grandparents then, not because she couldn't leave, but because she didn't have to. I grew up watching my grandparents stand in the background of our lives, always present, never imposing. They were the constant hum beneath everything. The ones who picked me up when my mum worked late, who remembered small things, who held the weight so she could keep moving forward. And in that house, there was one absence so complete it almost felt intentional. Rahim was never mentioned, not in passing, not in anger, and not in explanation. He never visited, never held me, and never saw me in the flesh. There were no stories about him, no photos tucked away, no whispered questions that drifted too far. In family circles, it was as if he had never existed at all. His name didn't echo. His absence didn't require explanation. The silence around him was protective, not bitter. A collective agreement that whatever he chose not to be, we would not allow it to define us. I didn't grow up asking where my father was because the house was already full. Full of hands, full of care, full of people who showed up without needing to be named. But silence has its own weight. It teaches you which questions not to ask, which gaps to step around, which truths are considered unnecessary for survival. My grandparents anchored us in love and stability, but they also wrapped the past in quiet. And while that quiet kept us safe, it also shaped how I learned to understand absence, not as loss, but as something that simply wasn't spoken into being. My relationship with my mother was good, strong, and rooted in years of closeness, laughter, shared survival. But love, and the secrets it sometimes carries, can derail even the best laid plans. Years after my biological father Rahim abandoned my mother and disowned me without ever laying eyes on me, something unexpected happened. Quietly, almost defiantly, my mother found love again. She hadn't been looking for it. Life had already demanded so much from her. Motherhood too early, responsibility too soon, ambition hard won. But love arrived anyway, disguised as timing, chemistry, inevitability. It was a whirlwind. For the first time, I saw her not just as my mother, but as a woman rediscovering herself. She laughed differently, dressed with intention, carried herself like someone who had been reminded she was still desirable, still chosen.